Hello everybody, it's IA Gamer. Yeah, no, I'm not trying to copy Markiplier, I'm just trying to do my own thing. This is Ghostwire Tokyo. I'm here to try and describe it to you in about 10 minutes. And if you want the short version, here it is. It's basically, you're in Japan, you died in a bike crash, or supposedly you died in a bike crash, then you got haunted by some guy with an extremely cryptic name. That guy then leads you on to just have to start fighting these random spooky things that come in all various sorts and sizes that are mostly based off of either everyday Japan things or based off Japan's urban legends. In short, you're a guy named Akito. You died in a bike crash trying to get to your sister, Mari, who is in the hospital because who knows why. I don't know why yet. And in your first little encounter, you see this guy. He's wearing a demon mask. I don't know what he's supposed to be there for, but he's an asshole. He took your sister, and now he's the source of your problems. On your way out, you manage to encounter depressed workers. They're too tired to complain about their job, so they have to take it out on you with umbrellas. It's not always raining, but they're always carrying the umbrellas. These umbrellas manage to blast away these little mini wind shurikens that you like to throw out willy-nilly. In short, they will go away after a few hits, but, it's also your weakest move. Later on, you get fire and water, but, that's not till later. Eventually, you come across fatter workers, female workers that seem to have found a machete, police officers that have a glowing baton, fat corporate officers that they seem to have found a big-ass hammer, just an overly angry worker. Eventually, you find your way to school girls, school students, or school boys. Random, I guess, badminton rackets that are flying around. Flight attendants that are made of paper that whenever you try to grab them too closely, they want to grab you back. Passengers on a train or plane, who knows where they're going, but all I know is they're here to deal with you. Your everyday person. Obviously, these are all based off of just random little myths and legends in Japan. You have a tiny child who's stuck in the rain and blows a rape whistle whenever you get too close, even though you're probably just trying to turn him into a statue. That's how they go away. Spooky ghost members that just fly in the city. You have a giant lady who gives you a fear boner with a oversized pair of scissors. You have trash ladies that are in the shape of supersized snakes. You have... I don't even want to know what that is. That's boss. You have turtle ducks and flying birds, door blockers or door hiders, because sometimes these fuckers are invisible. Your stereotypical Oni, and you have a tiny and a good luck demon. I'm not going to show you any of the other shit, because that's... In short, you're the last person in Japan. Well, in this part of Japan. It's your job to go around saving all the other spirits while ultimately trying to go and save your sister. Originally, you just start over in this general area over by a hospital, and then you slowly work your way out in order to save more people. Eventually, you'll come across these things called Torii gates. They're basically the Shrine Maiden's best friend. There's also this fog that you've been seeing that's everywhere. That fog will hurt you. Do not step in the fog. Do not go in the fog. Do not get in the man's van who's trying to offer you candy. But these things right here, these will push away the fog. These will give you more areas to explore. These will give you more tengus to jump onto, because, apparently you can just jump on the Birdman's leg, and he really doesn't care. There's also inanimate objects that have random glows on them. You punch them, you get special stuff to cast more jutsus. You can also slowly fall to the ground, and it goes anywhere from 2 to 3 to 5 seconds. It really just depends on how far you've upgraded. And speaking of upgrades... You have your general abilities, which involve you dropping a bit of water so you can see what's going around. Obviously, the hovering. Then there's the grapple, which eventually you have the ability just to make a tengu, so you can grapple up wherever you want to. You eventually get this. It's kind of like your super badass ability, super speedy sneaking, being able to punch things in order to get ether, which is like your jutsu powers. There's also blocking, which, if you time it correctly, it functions like a parry. And obviously, there's things that enhance that it gives you more ether or jutsu casting. I'm just going to call it jutsu casting now. Normally, these enemies have a core inside them. That core, when it exposed, you can either rip it out with super special wires. Let me find something here to demonstrate that on. Oh yeah, also there's dogs around. You can pet them, you can read their thoughts, you can give them dog food, and if you give them dog food, they will show you to where some shiny stuff is. And it's mostly just money, but hey, you can never be run out of money, especially when some of the more expensive stuff in these shops gives you skill points or gives you the ability to progress some of your skills. Obviously, this game is still fairly recent on Game Pass, or fairly recent in general, I don't know. But all I do know is that these dogs are littered everywhere. You can always give them dog food, and you can always... Oh yeah, and they will always show you shit. These are little Juzo statues. You pray to them, and they increase how many times you can cast a jutsu. It's always by 1. Also, it's not just small objects. You can get anything from a little wire carrier all the way up to a giant bulldozer that'll just refill your super jutsus. You can search anything in it, almost anything, and typically you'll find money in the trash. I don't know who decided to throw money in the trash, but I guess it just wasn't that important to them. Probably one of those depressed business workers. Overall, you're going to hear various animals. You're going to drop water on the ground to figure out where you are, and you're generally going to be saving spirits in the form of little paper dolls. In which case, you run up to the spirit, you hold out the doll, and it gets sucked into the paper. These things will focus as money gainers and EXP bonuses, which, just so you know, I recently unlocked an achievement in here that, you know, for some reason, people decided that they really don't care. Let me see here. Yeah, Helping Hand. Less than 0.1% of people decided, you know what, let's save the people in the city. But why? Why wouldn't they want to save the people in the city? I don't know, but let me tell you something. I'm level 25. I'm only on Chapter 3, which I'm guessing is just, you know, a small portion of the game. But still, I'm level 25. I've made substantial level progress just because I decided to run around saving the spirits instead of going after my sister, who, if you save too many spirits, will eventually give you a headache every time you stop by a payphone, because a payphone is how you help these spirits get out of the city. You know, for some reason. Also, anytime that you see a side quest, which will be highlighted in green, generally the name of the person is more or less just a description of them. It's not actually a name unless that person is alive or generally more than just a see-through spirit. You can also stop in these little shops that also have greedy cats that want to steal your money, but will also give you stuff that allows you to continue going on what you're doing. You can do anything from casting jutsus to cosplaying your favorite shrine maiden. From an indiscriminate series. Also, yes, like I said, cars are a way for you to get back stuff. Also, your healing. Your healing is literally eating food. If you eat regular food, it just heals you. If you eat stuff from the Nether, no, not Minecraft Nether, this game's version of the Nether, you get a temporary buff. In this case, I ate Nether Dongo, not Dongo from Monster Hunter Rise, because it's not it doesn't give you that much of a buff. Then it gave me a 10% defense bonus. Also, it's time to demonstrate what the combat looks like. Generally, it's just you throwing around little balls of super jutsu at things until their core is exposed. Then you grab it, rip it out of them, get some health back, get some super jutsu stuff back, and then you move on with your day. You can obviously, with those things, there's no real way to sneak up on them, so you just kind of have to take them head on. Other things you can sneak up on, jump on, execute on, do whatever you want. Depending on the thing, they will either come at you in hordes, come at you really fast, and then you just have to go about your day and dismiss them. Eventually you just end up running in and out of combat and being a general badass about things while also dealing with students who think they're a little bit more awesome than they should be. If you're extra vicious about it, once you expose the core, you can run up and rip it out of their chest. You can just straight up Bruce Lee them. In which case, depending on the thing, will tell you how they feel about it. Obviously, the students are just really surprised that you're reaching into the chest and ripping out their heart. There's not much they can really do about it, but there's not much that you're going to. There's not much room for them to tell you otherwise. In short, the game involves running around, saving spirits, dealing with spirits that don't like you very much, and eventually getting to your sister and saving all of Japan, while hopefully managing to save all 240,300 people in this city. you'll encounter urban legends along the way, and you'll encounter hints about other urban legends that have otherwise been in urban legends of Japan. You might find other things, you might not, but in other words, it's a lot of rinse and repeat, kind of like any other game, mostly like Far Cry. But in this case, you're feudal Japan cosplaying Naruto or whatever your other method is of casting elements. The game really doesn't stray too much from what it's trying to show you. Occasionally, you'll have to banish something or relieve a spirit of its tension, which will give you more spirits to save, and eventually find a payphone and get them to take away. I don't know what the number is that they punch in. They type it in so fast and in such a stylish way, then the payphone opens up, because damn, you had style, I guess. And then eventually you just shove the papers in, and then the spirits are on their way. Here, I'll give you a demonstration. Open the phone, call somebody, doesn't matter who, but I guess you just punch in the same number with some extra style. I don't know if anybody else can do that. Then you put the papers on there, you get money, you get experience. Seriously, people, get the extra experience. You will get so many more skill points for it. Eventually, you'll get a call from a random NPC whose name is Ed. I don't know what kind of Japanese name Ed is, but come on. Also, the lip syncing is built for the Japanese voicing. So if you're expecting to get English dub and have the lip sync at least mostly line up, you were incorrect. You can have English subtitles, and that way it'll that way it's pretty much like you're watching your favorite sub anime. But hey, the game can't be all what we want it to. Instead of just dogs, there's also cats that are roaming around that are just doing stereotypical cat things, like looking down on things, prancing about, just sitting there, laying around, licking themselves, doing other stuff. You can't feed the cats, you can only pet the cats and read their mind. For some reason, this giant fog that swept through the town didn't seem to really care if the cats were still in town, but I guess it took the boys out of town. Eventually, you'll find other cats that are around here that want specific objects, and eventually, if you bring them these specific objects, they'll give you shit. You can also shop from them, but generally the stuff that you want is like super expensive and it takes a while to get to. Otherwise, they have cosmetics and background music for you. But that has been my take on Ghostwire Tokyo. Overall, it's fun. It's especially interesting for somebody who's obsessed with Japanese folklore, you know, when they were in high school. And I've even partially convinced another roommate that they very well may want to get themselves involved into it. How obsessed am I with Japanese folklore? Here's an overlay of one of my characters that's totally not a JoJo reference. But in other words, that's my take on Ghostwire Tokyo. Otherwise, the only complaints I have about it is that when you're doing these little hand sealing things, there's only 2 combinations. The game has been out on Game Pass for only a day now, but otherwise, have fun.